Hey guys, so I am answering some more questions and I've actually pulled up the Leukemia Lymphoma Society website to get into just a little bit more detail. This will be my first time actually doing a video like this, so bear with me. One of the questions that I've received is, how do you get leukemia? So I went to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society website and I just typed in, how do you get leukemia? And it came up with a bunch of data, one of which is actually a really great resource. So you just type it in, and I typed in, this is a booklet on ALL, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And it's about 68 pages, really, really great. The first few pages are awesome. This page 2, a 6-word narrative about living with blood cancer from patients in our community. To be honest, until I started doing some research, I had not read this. And so some of this is actually very interesting for me as well. But like that first sentence, stay strong and keep moving forward. So it's 6 words, okay, about living with blood cancer. I don't look back, I only look forward. So far, so good, live life. Watch, wait, treat, regroup, rest, and re-energize. And you guys can look that up. It was very good. Then it gives you, obviously, a table of contents, what to expect, how to, what ALL is. And second paragraph here, people of any age can develop ALL, but most cases are diagnosed in patients younger than 20 years old. It is the most common cancer found in children in the U.S. Most cases of ALL are seen in children, but some deaths from ALL occur in adults. I'm an adult that was diagnosed with this, so very rare that I get or had developed this cancer. 4 major types of leukemia, and a lot of people don't know that there are different types of leukemia. First type is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Second is chronic lymphoblastic leukemia. Third is acute myeloid leukemia, AML, and then chronic myeloid leukemia. The ALL and the AML are the ones I hear a lot when I'm in clinic and when I'm seeing other patients in clinic. But ALL is what I have been diagnosed with. Leukemia is also classified by a blood type of cell that becomes cancerous. Okay, leukemia is called lymphoblastic or lymphoblastic leukemia. If the cancer's change begins in a young adult, white blood cells called lymphoblasts, a bone marrow cell that would normally develop into a lymphocyte. Leukemia is called myeloid or myelogenosis if the cancerous cell starts changing in early forms of myeloid cells. So what's happening is that cell starts to reproduce. How ALL develops. In healthy bone marrow, stem cells become mature adult blood cells through the process called differentiation. When an immature lymphoid blood cell in the bone marrow becomes damaged and develops errors in its genetic material, which is DNA, ALL develops. So what's happening is, instead of the immature lymphoblastic cell, what it's supposed to do is stay immature and die. What ends up happening is that this particular cell ends up not destroying itself, but actually starting to go through mitosis and develop. So it's replicating itself all throughout the bone marrow. Usually when someone is diagnosed, they're already seeing symptoms of what's happening. So this happens without you even knowing that this is going on, because your body is always fighting infection and your body's immune system is always creating cells and developing cells to help fight off infection. This type of cell actually kind of goes under the radar, if you want to call it that. It's kind of cloaked, and then it starts manipulating and developing. Here are some of the signs and symptoms. Some of the symptoms of the low red blood cell count, which you'll get, is fatigue, shortness of breath during normal physical activities like just walking around your house. That will be hard to do. Climbing stairs, if you have stairs, that becomes very difficult. Dizziness, and your complexion gets very pale. Now, all of this that they're going over, I had. This is the part where I thought I was getting the flu and I thought I had pneumonia. No idea that these lymphoblasts and these leukemia cells were starting to develop. You can bruise easily, prolonged bleeding from minor cuts, frequent or severe nosebleeds. I never had a nosebleed. Bleeding gums, I definitely had that. Blood in the urine, I don't recall. I never had any painful urine or blood in the urine. So, and then some of the other ones, I definitely had this, night sweats. Every night I would sweat, and I thought I was just sweating out the fever. Let's take a look at some of the diagnostics that they do as far as seeing how to determine the leukemia. One of the ways is through a bone marrow biopsy, and that's featured on this page here. What they do is that they numb up, so this part of your pelvis here, so you are laying, I was laying flat on a hospital bed, and they use lidocaine to numb up that area, so this part here of your hip, okay, so this is your backside, and so I'm facing away from the doctor, and once they numb up the area, they actually drive the needle down through the hip bone, down all the way to the bone marrow. Not very pleasant. Doesn't hurt once the lidocaine kicks in, but before that, you feel every little bit of it, unless you're already in the hospital. If, like, I was coming back and forth from the hospital, so I had to have a driver. It was usually a family member or my business partner driving me. That's how they did it. They just took it right out. That was very interesting. Very sore. You're very sore for a couple days after that, but definitely that's how they get into the bone marrow.